everyone. I am here today to bring you a few tips, exercise and stretch related for the golf season that is now upon us. We have a number of clients, Ryan and I, that are getting out onto the golf courses in Kelowna that have just recently opened up, and we thought what better time to bring you some useful tips so that you can mitigate any stress or overuse related injuries on the green this season. First thing that I'd like to talk about is actually nerve mobilization. What is nerve mobilization? It's often known as nerve flossing. More recently, you may have heard that term within exercise and health and fitness industry, but it's a way to open up movement through a joint via the nerve as opposed to, say, the muscles and the tendons. So a simple nerve flossing technique that you can use before you go out onto the putting green or the driving range, or if you're going out for a round, is to simply lift your arm up and overhead, extend at the wrist, bringing your fingertips towards your forearm, then lower the arm in a straight position until your wrist is in line with your shoulder, rotate until your fingers are in an upright position, and then bend at the elbow and bring the fingers towards the shoulder. And I might do that again another 2 or 3 times on the same side before I switch. And this is just a nice way to get a little bit more movement throughout the arm, and it gives the nerve the ability to slide through the tissue without being hindered at all. The second movement that I'm going to show you is simply a flexion and extension of the wrist. We often take our range of motion in this position for granted, and we don't necessarily give our wrists as much love as we might like to. So simply flexing and extending through the wrist to both end ranges of motion, about 10 times on each side is enough just as a stretch to start. And then keeping your elbow stable, coming through our third movement, which is supination and pronation. So this is also sort of known as a rotation, specifically from the elbow. So you want to make sure that the elbow is staying stable as you rotate through so that your bones can rotate about their pivot point. So again, I might do this on each side maybe 10 times for 2 sets as a part of my stretch or my warm-up before I go out onto the green. The third movement here with no weight at all is just a held stretch. So I'm going to hold my wrist in extension for about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to bring my wrist into flexion and hold, same thing, for about 10 seconds. And then I'll switch sides. What you can do if you want a little bit more to get your muscles actually warm before going out onto the green is hold a small weight or a can or a water bottle in your hand and go ahead and do those same movements, starting with wrist flexion and extension. You can then rotate and come into wrist flexion and extension just to change the lever slightly. And then if you have a weight, you can hold that weight or even a dowel at one end so that you have a long lever and come through your supination and pronation, rotating with a little bit of load to help, again, warm the muscles of the forearms, the flexors and the extensors. Please try out these exercises before you go out onto the golfing green and let us know if it improves your par.